Bills win 31-20 in advance. The Los Angeles Rams jump out to a lead early and win 30-28. Baltimore can create a key turnover at a key moment to win this game, 24-14. The Eagles put a statement on the NFC here in round 1 against the Pack. Shut them down, winning 34-13. The Commanders win by a point, 24-23. Defeating Houston and making a statement in the AFC, 30-10. It's time for playoff predictions round 2. Here is who is advancing to the AFC and NFC championship games this weekend. I'm picking every single game in this video, starting with the Houston Texans on the road in Kansas City against the Chiefs. But first, make sure you stick around to the end of the video, because along with the scores to every single game, I'll be revealing my updated Super Bowl winner and letting you know how you can challenge me in these picks. And everyone who beats me will get a shout out in next week's video. So think about your picks while I give you my picks. Like I said, Texans at Kansas City. And I'm still in pain from what the Houston Texans did to my Chargers. Holy shit. People like Rex Ryan were saying that the Texans were the Chargers bye week. But really, the Chargers were the Texans bye week. I could talk about the Chargers all day. I just want to talk about the Houston Texans now. That D-line tormented Justin Herbert and the Chargers pass protection unit. And when you pair it with an elite secondary like Houston has, even Kansas City is going to have a hard time beating Houston. Because not only are the Chiefs on like a month-long drought since their last game, it's now been 24 days to be exact. The way you beat the Chiefs, the way you stop this offense, the way you beat Mahomes is to get after Mahomes with 4 pass rushers so you can drop back in coverage as well. And like I said, Houston did just that against the Chargers. Houston showed that they can hit a quarterback last week. And they've shown it all year. This defense has been hungry. As a Chargers fan, I'm obviously rooting for the Houston Texans. So Houston, please, for the love of God, you have to attack the Chiefs at the tackle position. You have to attack Jawan Taylor. You have to attack whoever is standing across from Danielle Hunter because they cannot block him. That is going to be the key to Houston winning. Also, something else to keep in mind, that when Tank Dell got injured and was lost for the season, it was a very emotional moment for the Texans in Kansas City a few weeks ago. Will those emotions fuel a crazy upset in round 2? I think all of us are undoubtedly hoping so. But if we're honest, last time they played Patrick Mahomes, he was on one leg, literally running the Texans over still. The Chiefs end up winning by 8, only 1 possession, but when you watch the game back, they never lost control of this game. And Houston had Tank Dell for the first half. The defense was able to force C.J. Stroud into a few mistakes, just like he made against my Chargers last week. Chargers weren't able to make him pay, but the Chiefs will. My prediction for this one is I do think the Texans start the game off hot. I do think there is something to the Chiefs resting their starters week 18 and then having a bye week. It's too long off. You're going to get rusty no matter how good you are. But after Houston builds a 7 or 10 point lead, in quarters 2, 3, and 4, the Chiefs come back. I think they lock in, they knock off the rust, and end up winning this one 24-17. Something to keep in mind on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the secondary for the Texans. I'm really interested to see who Derek Stingley follows in coverage. You're obviously going to be bracketing Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown deep down the field. So do you use Stingley on Kelsey or DeAndre Hopkins? I think the other player is going to go off in this game, either D-Hop or Kelsey. If Azeez Al-Shaair takes Mahomes' head off in this game, how would the internet react? Would there be a riot or a celebration? Next round, I swear, that is the end of the Kansas City Chiefs three-peat. Now let's talk Commanders, Lions, Ravens, Bills, and Eagles, Rams. But first, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel with notifications on. If you ever met me before, hi, I'm NFLMike, an NFL content creator that makes NFL content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and twice on Sundays. TikTok just got banned. You can make me feel a whole lot better if you can get us to 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're only losing 200,000 followers. No big deal. Please, TikTok, don't go. But in all seriousness, we are dedicated to YouTube now. Once you subscribe to the channel, also like the video. That's the free way that you can send this video out in the algorithm to more NFL fans. Up next, the Washington Commanders going on the road against the Detroit Lions in what's sure to be a fun game. But first, huge shout out to the Washington Commanders for making me look like a damn genius last week. I picked the Commanders to upset the Bucs in that game by 1 point. I think they ended up winning by 3 points, but the game went exactly as I predicted it. Jaden Daniels played a very clean football game. and Baker Mayfield made one too many mistakes to survive. And that composure gives me zero concerns about Jaden Daniels this week as well. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be phenomenal in this game. And even though the Lions have been the better team all year, the injuries in Detroit and a few other things have to be very concerning about this game. Not only was Detroit down half their defense before this already, their offensive line is suffering injuries. Kevin Zeitler's not going to be in this game. And Kevin Zeitler was going to be key to slowing down this Washington pass rush and run stop. They've got De'Aaron Payne and Jonathan Allen still in the middle. These two are monsters. And I don't know how much this impacts your play calling on 3rd and 2nd and short now. Do you run the ball straight at those two? I don't think so. Then you put the ball in the hands of Jared Goff. And this is where my other concern comes into play. Dan Quinn has so much experience with fooling quarterbacks like Goff in the past. There is so much choke tape, as I call it, out there on Goff. What gives Jared Goff the yips? The average football fan like me and you may not know, but can Dan Quinn pick up on what gives Jared Goff the yips? And can he yip his way to another narrow victory and force another turnover-prone quarterback to turn the ball over? And if Washington can steal a few possessions, get their offense out there, run the football, and do it well against a banged-up Lions front, they're going to hang close in this game, and it's going to come down to the end again. The last thing that worries me a ton is that Dan Campbell clearly will risk it all. I know Dan Quinn probably goes for it just as much as Dan Campbell. So many Dans in this game. If Dan Campbell risked it all at the worst possible time, it could completely destroy the Lions' Super Bowl run. With all that being said, the more loaded squad should win. The better team should win. The team that just beat a 14-win Minnesota Vikings team 2 weeks ago should win. The offense has proven to be unstoppable, despite any injuries or hiccups. The defense has proven to be good enough to pair with that unstoppable offense to find success. Despite all the injuries, Dan Campbell's been a lunatic at times, but it's worked out. Do not choke on me now, Detroit. Keep my predictions perfect. Lions 38, Washington Commanders 24. See you in the NFC title game again. Now this brings me to the two harder games to predict. First, the Baltimore Ravens on the road in Buffalo. We got an MVP versus MVP matchup. And the Buffalo Bills were on another level than the Denver Broncos last week. You saw that the Broncos have a good defense. You saw the Broncos can score on the first drive of the game, but it's just not on the same level as Buffalo or Baltimore, to be honest, who impressively beat the Steelers by 2 touchdowns. I still worry about the Ravens. They've been doing this for years. They've been doing this for basically all of Lamar Jackson's career. They could just wipe some teams, and they do in the first half of a lot of games. And then in the second half, they let off the gas pedal. Just because you have a lead on Josh Allen does not mean you can let off the gas pedal. They let off the gas pedal on Russell Wilson and the Steelers last week, and they almost crawled back into the game. This is not Russell Wilson. If the Ravens don't have a good second half, they will lose. The Bills have been infamously a second half team. You can only hold Josh Allen back for so long. And you throw on top of it, there's not going to be any Zay Flowers for this game. Zay Flowers is that guy for them. With all that being said, my prediction. Everyone knows that this game is probably not going to be won by the MVPs because the MVPs are both going to play like MVPs. They're going to go off. Both these guys want a Super Bowl more than anything, and they want another shot to take Mahomes' head off, to be the team to stop KC. This game comes down to who, especially late in the game, can control the game. And Derrick Henry has been the Bills' kryptonite since the day he set foot in the league. Highlight after highlight after highlight. Played earlier in the season, Derrick Henry had 2 Bills versus the Bills. And even if Buffalo does half as good against King Henry in this game, I think Lamar Jackson is going to do the rest. Another key matchup in this is that the Bills love to put a ton of DBs on the field. That's because their linebackers were freaking phenomenal. Matt Milano and Bernard wreak havoc in the middle of this defense. But last time they played King Henry, both those linebackers were out. They will both be available for this game. So can the Bills slow down King Henry? Just like, can the Eagles find a way to do 50% better on Saquon Barkley? I was at the last game, the 300-yard performance earlier in the year, and it looked unstoppable, which is probably why you're thinking, Mike, why are you doubting the Eagles? They should probably destroy the LA Rams this weekend just like they did earlier. And I agree with you. The Eagles roster is absolutely loaded. The Eagles were my pick in the NFC since day one. They've got defensive backs galore now that a couple guys have broken out of that draft class. Linebackers to fill in for the injured Nakobe Dean. D-line, O-line, wide receiver, running back. It's all there. But an Achilles heel at quarterback possibly. Jalen Hurts continued to struggle. And newsflash, Sean McVay is 6-0 against opponents that he lost to earlier on in the year. Basically, every time you face this guy in a rematch, you get out-coached. I think Nick Sirianni is going to out-coach Sean McVay in this one? No! McVay just eliminated the Vikings in a rematch a week ago. I know LA is going to figure something out, either offensively to get after these rookie DBs or defensively to find a way to slow down Saquon. Plus, the struggle of mentally knowing you have to improve to beat an opponent because they blew you out earlier in the year versus repeating that blowout performance to me is a lot easier to do. A lot easier to prepare when you're chasing something versus trying to maintain. But like I said with the Bills, if they do half as good on Derrick Henry, they still lose the game, which is why I have the Ravens winning 30-20. I also think if the Rams do half as good on Saquon Barkley, it will be a lot closer than last time. The Eagles will find a way to win the game, and Jalen Hurts will make a big throw down the sideline to A.J. Brown to close it out. Eagles win it 24-21 with the Rams fighting all the way to the end of the game. Leaving us with very similar AFC and NFC title games that I had predicted last week. That's what happens when you get 5 out of 6 games right in round 1. Freaking Chargers, man. Would have been 6-0. Hasn't been any major injuries, so my Super Bowl pick hasn't changed. I still have the Philadelphia Eagles advancing to lose to the Baltimore Ravens in this year's Super Bowl. If you think you can beat these predictions, comment yours down below. Those who beat me will receive a shout out in next week's predictions. Will I be Mike Stradamus once again? I am definitely cashing on these picks this week. I guess sooner rather than later, the ball definitely won't lie. I have never wanted to be so wrong as I am about the Chiefs-Texans game.
Bill Flames, I went Mike on the mic. With something brand new, one time for your mind. He gave you fair warning. Now it's time to smack him in the mouth with that raw sports talk from the town. Sweet chin music to your favorite sportscaster.